Hello everybody! This is my very first computer, a Commodore 128 that my parents bought me in elementary school in 1986, along with one of the earliest MIDI music keyboards. That put me on a path toward a career in computer science and a lifetime love of making music, and for all that I'm very grateful. Now it's 2021 and this computer needs a little love. It's dirty from storage, the plastic is yellowed, and the video is sometimes garbled. So keycaps off, pop the case, disconnect the keyboard, and we'll get the keys ready for a wash. Under the RF shield is the motherboard, including all the custom chips that make this a Commodore. The 128 is kind of a wild machine for its time, with two 8-bit CPUs of different architectures, plus two very different graphics chips and 3 separate operating modes. We give it a good scrubbing to clean off everything that's accumulated on the board. Then the main board is shiny again. Back to those keys, we'll start them soaking in soap and scrubbing them down. Then we'll put the case itself in the solution to coax its original color back out. The bubbles mean there's chemistry. Here's the underside of the board. And now the fun part, all those old capacitors are overdue for replacing. For each of those capacitors, I desoldered and removed the original one, cleaned the board under it, and soldered in its modern replacement. We'll do this first one now. Only a couple dozen more to go, so let's hurry up and get those done too. Electrolytic capacitors fall out of spec over time and they can leak and damage the board, so it's good just to replace them all while we have the hood open. We make sure the power supply is giving us good voltages before we hook it up. I may still recap that later. And with no keyboard, a good way to test the board is to plug in a game cartridge. I zapped the fragile sound chip in the late 80s, and this computer was silent until I installed an emulated SID chip a few years ago. But I just got my hands on a rare original chip, so we'll swap that in instead. We retrobrite the keycaps on a 3D printed jig, and they come out beautiful. So let's button it all back up. And put the keyboard back together. This looks so much better. Another power on test works fine. One broken key from storage needed some epoxy and some reinforcement, but I did manage to save it. And now the obligatory basic version of Hello World. And a quick sound check. Oh, and 80 column mode works. Look at those gorgeous pixels. And Commodore 64 mode. Bill Hurd and his team also left an Easter egg in this machine's ROM. I really should see if he would be willing to sign an autograph to go along with this computer that started it all for me. And just look at the difference. It looks great, runs great, and she's ready to go for the next 35 years.